Good day, dear students, dear listeners, dear colleagues. So let me begin my next lecture. Today we are going to talk about the scientific degrees in English, Russian and Uzbek, as well as the ways of their translation. Educational system of English speaking countries sometimes differ from Russian and Uzbek in the means of terms. So when we speak about bachelor's degree, 3 or 4 year course of study is called, or it gives, or it leads to a bachelor's degree. When we talk about bachelor's degree in English language, it has got its own abbreviations concerning the diploma or degree. As you know, there are several just types of science. They can be Bachelor of Science, or Bachelor of Arts, or Bachelor of Fine Arts, and Bachelor of Business Administration. On the screen, you can see the shortening of these degrees. Bachelor degrees is often referred to as a first degree in English-speaking countries. It is the first degree. So when we speak about the degree after bachelor, it is master's degree. Master of Science, Master of Arts, Master of Fine Arts, and you can see their abbreviations in English language on the screen. Master's degree just is achieved after 5 or 6 years of cycle of study education. Sometimes in Russian and Uzbek diploma is the equivalent of English degree. Sometimes they confuse while translating. In Russian diploma, in Uzbek diploma, but in English it is degree. He gets his degree. Now, when we speak about translation of academic degrees, especially interpreters, translators may find themselves in confusion. Like diploma, degree, sometimes just makes them to find in a difficult situation. PhD, sometimes it's a fun way they say people who don't give up. Let's talk about PhD degree, about translation of. Sometimes candidate of science or doctor science, yeah, they translate in this way. When we speak about candidate of science, sometimes it's not recommended for translators, because when we speak about candidate, that means unproved certificate. It means unproved. So especially, on the other hand, in a strict legal text, these options may be appropriate. But still, we have to refer to general the information source. Sometimes they prefer with explanation writing the word candidate, because candidate that means the person who haven't achieved the PhD degree yet in English language. But when you speak about кандидат наук, in Russian it means the person who achieved this degree. Candidate is often used in combination of PhD, doctoral candidate. It means it indicates researcher still working on his relevant dissertation. So what's the difference between PhD student and PhD candidate? These are the process of achieving PhD degree. These terms are used in this process. PhD student, the person who has already begun studying, but PhD candidate, that means that person who is on the threshold of defending his dissertation paper. This is the difference. So student, the person who already begins, but when we speak about candidate, that person who is ready to defend his diploma paper. So кандидат наук фан номзоде, in English it's going to be Doctor of Philosophy in Philology or Doctor of Philosophy. Abbreviation PhD. In both science, in science and just in art, they are called PhD. Sometimes they shouldn't confuse. In Russian speaker, the philosophy, that means science in general. Mathematician also can be a science. So when we speak about number of areas, when we speak about doctor, so some people show their just spheres: Doctor of Medicine, MD, or Juris Doctor, or Jurisprudence, GD. So branches of science are just, you can see on the screen, the tree of science. There are different branches. So sometimes while translating the scientific degrees, they show their branches of science, like a medical or jurisdiction, or just, you can see on the screen. Sergei Ivanovich PhD. But in the second case, you see PhD of medical science. So two versions. The second version of translation focuses on the branch of science in which degree was obtained. On the screen, we can see Кандидат наук, the translation of Кандидат наук, PhD of sciences. Кандидат архитектуры, the PhD of architecture. They show the branch of science sometimes, but generally both of them are called PhD. Кандидат медицинских наук, you can say PhD of medical science, and so on. But for all of them, they use the shortening PhD. But after the word PhD, they use just the branch of science. When we speak about the translation, here we give the list of spheres or just branches of science in Russian and in English language. And in a further just activity, they will be very helpful. Кандидат экономических наук, KNA, you can translate as a PhD of economic science. Юридических наук, judicial sciences. When we speak about the features of transferring of academic degrees of Doctor of Science, we can say the following. Let's wait for the next slide coming. Sometimes they use the phrase Doctor of Letters. It means Doctor словесности. Doctor of Laws, Doctor права. So that means LLD. Sometimes you can meet some kind of abbreviations or terms, and here you shouldn't hesitate. Doctor of Letters, that means the person who speaks very better, who knows good information about authority. Sometimes you can meet the just phrase habilitation, rehabilitation during USSR time, or habilitation, habilitation from Latin word capable, fit. They give habitalitus just to give a right to the professorship at the university. When they defend, as well as they use this phrase habitalitus, that gives the just full right for the lecturer to be professor of the university. It means habitalization, not a separate academic degree, but this qualification in addition to doctoral degree, which allows the person to hold the position of university professor. You can see on the screen Ivanov Nikolai Sergeyevich, Dr. Hebil. Ivanov Nikolai Sergeyevich, Dr. Hebil of engineering science. As well, he's a doctor, as well as he has got the full right to be a professor of the university. Automatically, they give this right. On the screen, you can see academic titles and positions that you can meet in the academic system. They can be PhD student, assistant lecturer, postdoc research fellow, lecturer, and so on. Professor has to be translated as professor, although often in Russian and Uzbek educational system, the professor is a high position. Here, professors are just a very important person, the lecturers. Docent is always translated as an associate professor, just not abbreviated to S-Prof, which means assistant professor. So associate professor. Rector или проректор, rector or deputy rector are acceptable there. So when we speak about the translation of chancellor, especially its American version. The positions and titles of university employees in English language. You can see faculty professional, just staff, postgraduate of as a department of dean, director, and so on. Aspirante кафедры, decan, etc. You can see several staff members of the university staff, head of the department in British English, and you can see on the screen. Associate professor, that means docent. Zaf кафедры, head of the department, or chief of the department. Кафедра, department, sub-department. Research assistant, младший научный сотрудник, and so on. Sometimes professor of the department is in Russian professor кафедры. So can be senior lecturer, старший преподаватель, faculty. And this kind of terms you should know. You should learn by heart them before just doing some kind of translation. Заведующий кафедры, head of the department especially. But they sometimes verse chair, which is often used in Russian and Uzbek translation, means кафедра. Has no such meaning, but it means заведующий. So sometimes you have to use the letters with capital letters. PhD or B.Sc, they have got their special rule while translating capital letters and as well as university organization names. That was all for today. If you have got any questions, you are welcome. Thank you for being with me. Thank you.